Hi there. This is file acquisition video, training video number 2, a basic introduction to file acquisition. Alright, file acquisition is fairly easy if you've done your research well. As we talked about in the last video, there's much that goes into research, a lot of notes that you take. But at this point, when you get to the actual file acquisition process, you should have so many notes and they should be so complete that you should be able to very quickly acquire what you need. Alright, so the first thing that you're going to want to do always is open up the spreadsheet that you need, because every time you actually do something it needs to be recorded, because if you go a week down the road and you can't remember what file you acquired and you haven't followed the right path, then a lot of times we get into trouble because we end up using files we shouldn't. So go here, Control, click, and it will bring you to the spreadsheet. Now, since this is an example, a lot of it is not going to be filled out already, but we're pretending that the set that we're dealing with, our example set, is a complete works of Martin Luther. So if that's the case, then what we would have here specifically from the research is we would have the title of a whole bunch of books. Remember we went to the library and we went on the internet and we discovered what books Martin Luther wrote. About how long they were they just a sermon, were they a tract, were they a book, were they a set of books, that information is going to be here too. And the basic number of pages is also going to be there. Now, we probably have not filled out the source link, because unless you stumbled across something during your research, because we actually have not downloaded this book yet. And the source link is for something that we have already downloaded. The file format, we also have not filled out, because this is what it's saved in. Okay, and I'm going to show you that in just a second. The rest of these we probably also have not filled out. So what you have already filled out from your research is the name of the author, especially if it's a variety set. This one is just going to all be Martin Luther, or titles of or authors of biographies of Martin Luther, and then the titles of the books themselves. So what we're working with right now is basically the title of the books. So let's start at the top. Obviously that's all we've got here, but you would start at the top, go to the internet, and sometimes what I do is just type in the name of my author and then do works. Okay, because a lot of times there will be these websites, and you should have taken note of these when you were researching, that will catalog a certain author's works, especially for the great theologians. That happens all the time. So let's say that the first one on our list was a Bible commentary. So we go here, there it is, Commentary on the Epistle to the Galatians, right there. Alright, well this looks like it's in the public domain, but then I see this, 1949. Now remember, anything before the year 1933 is automatically not copyrighted. But sometimes, even though I see that 1949, that doesn't automatically mean that it is in copyright. So let's look down here, okay? Sometimes they'll have more information. This text was prepared by Laura J. Holter for Project Wittenberg by Robert E. Smith, and is in the public domain. You may freely distribute, copy, or print this text. Please direct any comments or suggestions to, etc. Alright, so that means that it is in the public domain. We can use it. So good. Now, you're going to make note of that, and in a later video I'm going to show you how to do a screenshot of this particular portion right here, which will tell us that you were correct in thinking that this was not in copyright. So, first thing you're going to do is you are going to go over here to the preface. We want all the materials that we can. Sometimes we won't use it, but we want to acquire all of it. So, but you don't want all this page. You don't want these links. You don't want all of that kind of stuff. Or you want them to be set aside in a way that you can figure out. So go over here to Page, all the way down to View Source. Give it a minute because it'll be a little slow. But if this works, it's a much better way to actually acquire the material than just simply copying and pasting the text. Again, it's a little slow. It's getting a whole bunch of information. Alright, go over here. This, believe it or not, is the format that is the very best for our taggers, because what's in there is a sort of roadmap to the tagging that they're going to need. They won't directly copy this, but it will help them. They won't have to put in the paragraphs, those sorts of things. So it's much less work for them. So what we're going to do is we're going to do Control A, Control C, go over here, and instead of actually doing this one, this is an HTML form. So what I want is text pad. Let's see here. Or Word. There it is, WordPad. Some sort of plain text. And then Control V. Still thinking about it. And when we're done with this, what we're going to do is save it in a specific format. Now the whole next video is going to be about saving and storing, but I'm going to show you really quickly how to save just a basic file. So we've done these two steps. Open the research doc. We're going to fill out the rest of it in just a moment. Copied and pasted, that's what we're working on right now. We're also working, just to let you know, with a source code, not the formatted file. The formatted file would be, and I'll show you that in just a second, if I just went here and did this and copied it directly like this out into a Word document. Right now I'm working with a WordPad document that's being pretty slow. There we go. So there is the tagged portion of the preface. So what we're going to do is save, D for document, because we also have images that will go into these sets as well. So document, and then Martin Luther, commentary on the Galatians. Shorten these titles. You will have the full title elsewhere. ICLNet, that is our source. Let's go back and make sure that's correct. Yep, we're at ICLnet.org. That's our source. It's very important to get into the name. And then this is an HTML document, and we acquired it in May 2010. And then you're going to save it. Okay? We're going to get out of this now. Okay, the other way to do this, if you can't find that source file, or if it says it's not available, which it will sometimes, you can go over here, Control Insert, make a new Word document, Microsoft Word document, and then copy and paste. This takes much longer. It's not exactly what we want, but it is acceptable. Okay? And then for that one, you would save it in a different form. We're not going to save it right now. Then you would go back over here. You would fill in the number of pages, check to make sure that they match with what you had before. Your source link, the file format, we acquired it in HTML. File format notes, it's a clean HTML copy. It looked good. No copyright claim. It said it was stated that there was no copyright claim, and the SS is for screenshot. I will show you how to do that in another video. There was some editing evidence, but it still said that there was no copyright claim. Now the rest of this we're going to fill in a little bit later in the actual editing portion.